Hi everyone, this is me again, Khalid Awadallah. Welcome to my second episode of DNA Center. In this episode, we will talk about Catalyst 9K switches, Cisco DNA Center and licenses, DNA Center scale, and finally DNA Center redundancy. Let's take a hardware overview for Catalyst 9K switches. Catalyst 9K switches consists of many different kinds of switches. They have recently Cisco 9200, which is almost the replacement for 2K switches. Although 2K switches are not end of sale yet, but I believe that this is the roadmap for Cisco. Also, they have 9300 switches, which will be more or less a replacement for 3K switches. Also 3K switches are still not end of sale. Then they have two modular switches, the big monster switches, 9407 and 9410. 7 modules and 10 modules. And they have the big monster for core switches is 9500 switches. And they recently announced the wireless controllers of 9K, which is 9800 wireless controllers. You can check for all hardwares from this link. Actually, I believe that 9200 is for access switches for small and medium size. 9300 is used for access big size or medium size somehow, because big size is for 9400. For 9300 they are the access switches for medium size, and also they can work as core switches for 9200 switches. For big modular switches you have 9400, 7 and 10, and for core switches you have 9500 switches. Just keep in mind that if you are intending to build a fabric for DNA, certain switches can work as border nodes and certain switches can work as edge nodes. For example, for border nodes, which they are core switches, 9300 and the 9500 can work as border nodes, whereas the 9400 and 9200 can only work as edge nodes. So please check for Cisco Validated Design for DNA Center to know which the appropriate model for your design. The second point in this episode about DNA Center licenses. DNA Center has 3 flavors of licenses: Essential License, Advantage License, and Cisco One license. Actually, it's somehow a controversial topic. Let's try to get it simpler. Firstly, you have 2 lines of licenses. Firstly, and the very important point about DNA Center, that DNA Center itself doesn't have any kind of licenses. All license should be applied on switches and wireless controllers and routers that you are using. So you don't need to buy any kind of license for DNA Center itself. You need to buy your hardware with the proper license to support your proper features. We have 2 lines of licenses: Network Function License and DNA Features License. For Network Function License, it's like the old-fashioned iOS versions, IP-based IP service. For DNA Features, these are the license for DNA features. Let's start with Network Function. For Network Function, we have 2 kinds of licenses: Network Essential and Network Advantage. For Network Essential, it's equivalent to IP-based iOS, and for Network Advantage, it's equivalent to IP Services iOS. For DNA features, you have 3 flavors of license: DNA Essential, DNA Advantage, and Cisco One Advantage. DNA Essential supports only some basic features like automations, like quality of service, like designing your network, pushing configuration, plug and play, and we will discuss this later. For DNA Advantage, it supports multiple features, almost 95%, I believe, from DNA features are supported in this license. And you have the biggest license for DNA features, which is Cisco One Advantage. Cisco One Advantage supports 100% of DNA features. It includes DNA Advantage plus 25 ICE-based licenses, 25 ICE Advantage licenses, and Stealth Watch license. However, you can't mix and match between these licenses. And what does that mean? If you want to buy the Network Essential license, you have to buy with it DNA Essential license. They are included into a single part number, can be purchased from Cisco CCW. If you want to go for Network Advantage or DNA Advantage, you have to go for both Advantage on both sides. Both DNA Advantage and Network Advantage, they are included into a single part number which contains letter A. If you want to go for Cisco One Advantage, you have to go for Network Advantage with it. So you have only 3 packages of license. Essential license, which includes Network Essential and DNA Essential. Advantage license, which include DNA Advantage and Network Advantage. And C1 or Cisco One license, which includes Network Advantage and Cisco One Advantage. Here is another photo that illustrates maybe in another way this kind of license. You can check for DNA Center datasheet. You will find a table including all features supported in DNA Essential, DNA Advantage, and Cisco One Advantage. So before deciding which license you should buy, please consult this table first. And keep in your mind these colors for license. This is the DNA Essential, DNA Advantage, and Cisco One Advantage, because these colors will be used during my next episode. Okay, another very important point that will affect your design, so you have to consider it into your design, is about DNA Center scale. How many devices can work with DNA Center? How many endpoints? How many access points? How many switches? How many routers? You need to check for these numbers for Cisco Validated Design and from the document of Cisco DNA Center datasheet. Because, for example, currently DNA Center can support up to 25,000 endpoints only. So if you have accounts like some of our customers that have 30,000 users, currently DNA Center can't fit. So please check for Cisco Validated Design to have your accurate numbers. And keep in mind that you have 2 kinds of numbers for scaling: the validated numbers and the maximum theoretical numbers. For validated numbers, for example, Cisco claims that DNA Center can support up to 20 fabrics, though they tested only to have 10 fabrics. So if you are using 10 fabrics, it's a validated design from Cisco, but if you are intending to use 20 fabrics, DNA Center should support to have 20 fabrics, although it's not tested yet from Cisco. So you will find 2 tables in Cisco Validated Design. One contains the maximum theoretical numbers and one contains the validated numbers. Please check them wisely before designing your DNA Center. About Cisco DNA appliances. Currently, we have 2 kinds of appliances, or 2-part numbers: DN1 and DN2 appliances. DN1 is based on Cisco UCS 220 M4 server, and DN2 is based on Cisco UCS 220 M5 UCS servers. You can order now both of them, although I believe that the M4 UCS or DN1 UCS appliance will be end of sale soon. So if I were you, just start with DN2. Also, it's anticipated by this month, according to Cisco announcement, that another appliance will be published with more scale. It supports up to 30K users. And by I believe mid of 2019, they will support a large size appliance that supports up to 100K users. So if you have a very big network with your customer that needs to support more than 30K users, just wait for the large size appliance. No confirmed date yet when it will be available, but according to Cisco, it may be available during this year. Lastly, let's talk about DNA Center Redundancy. Of course, the worst thing in any network to have a single point of failure. And what is the case if you have a single point of failure for your management and control plane? Of course, it will be disaster if it's down. So Cisco supports to have 3 DNA Center appliances to work together as a cluster. So I recommend you to use this kind of redundancy, because in case if you lost one of them, the 2 appliances will be backup for the first one. However, when you use a cluster of DNA appliances, keep in mind that the scale will be the same for a single appliance. For example, if you have your single appliance that supports 25K users, if you have a cluster, the whole cluster will support 25K users also. So when you use a cluster, you don't multiply the scalability by 3. No, you keep the same scalability for single DNA appliance, because the other 2 appliances work as backup for the first one. Here's some useful links for DNA Center. I used them. They are very cool, but keep in mind that Cisco almost update DNA documents maybe every month or every couple of months. So always check for the latest version on Cisco website. The first link for SD Access Cisco Validated Design, and it includes everything related to DNA Center design except for network segmentation, because network segmentation has a separate Cisco Validated Design. In the second link, it contains almost all information you may need to design your network for network segmentation, and I encourage everyone to also read this design guide because it's very useful. It's not that long. It may take 2 or 3 hours to read it, but it's very useful. And finally, you can find a DNA lab, a real lab, on Cisco Dcloud using this link. Just use your username and password for Cisco website and you will be able to access this lab. They have 3 labs already prepared for you to do it. Go through these labs, they are very useful. You can use them to explore this sophisticated system. Thank you. Stay tuned for my episode. Goodbye.